Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Get in the Herd, a recovery podcast brought to you by the McShin Foundation. I'm your host, Alex Bond. I am a full-time staff member here and a person in recovery from a substance use disorder, which means that since September 23rd, 2019, I've not put any mood or mind-altering substances in my body. Today, we've got Tara and Harlie with us. How are y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Wonderful.
Good.
Tara, why don't you introduce yourself?
My name's Tara, and I am a person in recovery.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I live here in McShin
How long have you been here?
since January 1st, 2021.
What a way to start the year.
Mm-hmm.
And Harlie.
I'm Harlie. I came here from Maine in the beginning of August, so I've been here for 6 months.
Heck yeah.
So you've been here a little longer than Tara.
Yeah, for sure.
You would never know because I've seen y'all really connect pretty quickly, I think. As like friends, are y'all pretty close?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I see y'all always hanging out together. How important, Harlie, have you found it in your personal recovery, as well as coming all the way from Maine, it is to connect with people, especially females?
I mean, that was like really hard for me at first because that's never anything that I did or had, you know. I have like a few best friends back home, like lifelong best friends, but connecting with females was hard. And like coming in at first into a house full of them, it was tough. But as time went on, I just like saw the importance of it, and especially new girls coming in, like kind of showing them the way a little bit. And I don't know, I just like we kind of gravitated towards each other. We're a lot alike in like certain ways.
You giggle. So how are y'all alike in certain ways?
It's
like
scary.
what? Like how? Like because I think, you know, some people think in early recovery that you got to try to like maybe force these connections or sometimes. So how did y'all end up creating this bond, friendship, whatever you want to call it?
So I kind of like isolate. That's like when something I do, and she called me out. And that's why I came here, to be called out on my bullshit, like,
Okay.
you know, and she let me know like what she did and what she didn't do and what she wished she did. So I kind of took that and was like, all right, I'm going to work with that. I'm going to be honest when I need to be, even if it hurts me. I'm going to ask when I need help because that's something I don't know how to do. And I guess like, just like Harlie said, I've never been like a girl's girl. I'm finding out that that's being easier now that, you know, I'm wanting to be here for the right reasons. So I wouldn't have it any other way, to be honest.
So do you think you actually took Harlie's advice a little better because you looked up to her, or?
For sure. Yeah, most definitely. I've never really have done recovery for myself. And like this time it was easy to talk to her about what I wanted instead of what my parents or my lawyer or my probation officer, whatever, wanted for me. It was easy to say, this is what I'm looking for, and you have what I want, so I'm going to rock with you, you know?
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how is it, you know, Harlie, you've been here a little longer, so you've had, I think, a little more experience of living with females. I think right now, is y'all's house full? I think
we have a couple beds.
maybe like a bed or two open.
Mm-hmm.
How has that been adjusting for you, Tara? Because you've been here for 6 months, so you kind of probably are either sick of it or accustomed to it, I would imagine. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How has that been for you, Tara?
Um,
Did you live in a house with 6 to 8 other females before?
Yeah, this isn't my first go around. But
Okay.
this time, like I said, like I say it's funny because like Harlie and I are together majority of our time, but like I didn't really come here to meet friends, and if I did, great, but I really came here for me. And the turnaround at the house was crazy. Like I'm already in a whole other room than when I started, and I feel like in a way I didn't deserve that, but at the same time, like I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. I'm showing up when I don't want to. So it's been really like not challenging, but it's been like hard to see the turnaround and like how fast people leave. And I remember I was that girl when I wasn't ready. I left when, you know, I didn't want to be here, but it's just like weird to be on this side of the fence and like wanting it and expressing when I see something, I say something like that's something that is, I almost couldn't even say it right there because living on the street, you don't, you know, you just have that tunnel vision. You're not worried about anything else. And like, it's just,
You know, that snitch mentality
Right,
is what
yeah.
a lot of people have when they first come in is I can't say anything because I'm going to be labeled a snitch.
I think for me too is like I felt that way when I first got here, and like your moral compass really starts to change and you see that it's not snitching. It's like things that could save people's lives, you know?
Have you been put in any situations like that?
Yeah, a few actually. Well, I mean a couple. And there was like girls, when I lived at the Chesterfield house, like hearing them on the phones and like they're trying to like have someone come to the house and immediately would say something because it doesn't just put us all in danger, it puts her in danger, you know?
Yeah, for sure. It puts the whole like, you know, morale of the community focused on something else. I think, in kind of like a negative light a little bit. So, Harlie, being here a little longer, have you become accustomed to what I kind of call the revolving door of people coming in and out real, you know, abruptly? Or have you kind of become numb to it a little bit?
At first, it was really hard for me because I would gravitate to someone and they would leave. And I think that like my abandonment issues played a part in that because I would kind of look at it as they were leaving me. And it was just, I took it harder than everyone around me. I think people were just like, oh, well, you know, they're leaving. And I would take it so hard. But now I don't really feel it as deeply. You know, I am accustomed to it, you know, not everyone stays. And I just, I've never been in recovery before. I've never been in like a recovery house living with this many people. So it was just an adjustment really, you know?
Yeah. So you came up from Maine or you came down from Maine. Why McShin? I'm pretty sure, were you under the Operation Hope?
Yeah.
Can you explain to some of the viewers what that actually is?
So there's a program in Maine called Operation Hope. And basically it's through a police station, our local police station in Waterville. And you can go in, you can give them the drugs that you have. And they basically just look for a place to send you. They pay for your plane ticket. It's a one-way plane ticket. And I chose, well, the real reason why I chose McShin is because they said 28 days. And I was like, okay, that's easy. I can do that.
That's the shortest on this list.
Right. And that's what it was. And like, that was my plan to stay for only 28 days. And I obviously am still here. And I just like saw how much I needed it for even just like putting the drugs aside, like just the tools for me that I never got and to like live the rest of my life with, you know, like there's so many things that come in this that I need. And I saw that and I was like, okay, you know, this is really going to like help. And I wanted to stay. And
so that's why you stuck around, is to try to put more tools in your toolbox.
Yeah. You know, I really started feeling better about myself, and that was big. And like, you know, fixing relationships in my personal life and my family. And I have a 3-year-old daughter. So I didn't just want to quit like before, you know, I needed to.
Sure. Yeah, that's pretty
28 days is like a short period of time, you know. So
yeah, I totally agree. You know, we usually recommend at least 90 days. The most successful people I've seen stay consistently clean after leaving here is about 6 to 9 months, honestly. Just a word of advice. That's all I'm saying is like 6 to 9 months. You've been here for a month and some change now, Tara. Are you starting to kind of see yourself become that role model that Harlie was to you, to like other new people coming in? Because I know you've probably had a couple people in your house come in after you that could be looking at you thinking, I like the way she works her program, or, you know, I want what she has. That's usually how I found my sponsor, was I said, I want what that guy has. Are you starting to like maybe mentor other people in the way that Harlie's maybe
in a way
taking a shine to you?
I feel like I kind of like when I first tried recovery, I talked too much. So for this time, I'm kind of just like sitting back and listening. And I have to protect myself because no matter what it is, if it's in front of me, I know I'm going to do it, even if I don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something I've had to learn the hard way. So when new girls come in, and they're ready to leave, like usually within the first like 24 hours, they just can't stand it. And this is the most chillest place I've ever lived. There's no fines. Like it blows my mind.
That should be a Google review in and of itself. Chillest place I've ever lived.
For sure. Like it really is. Like it doesn't, I don't feel like I'm trapped. Like I can still do what I want to do, but like if I want to do what I'm want to do necessarily, there's going to be consequences. But when like someone new comes in, I try and tell them like, hey, this is what's up. Like this is what's happening. The groups at the church are amazing. I dreaded it, but once I actually sat down and listened, it helped me. Like I don't know, I wouldn't have chose anywhere else, to be honest. And I just knew I wanted to come to Richmond. For real, I didn't know what was here or anything. So I just showed up here and I was like, I gotta stay. I gotta help somebody. I don't want someone to ever feel like how I felt, because no one deserves to live miserable and desperate and just the things that I've done myself. I don't want to ever see anybody, not even my worst enemy. So I'll try.
That's cool. Yeah. So you flew in and you stumbled in.
Yes.
Is kind of what I'm hearing y'all say. So, how long are you planning on staying?
I joke and say that, April 1st is my court date. I'm going to leave afterwards, or
that's what I said.
Yeah. Right. No, I don't have any plans to leave anytime soon. So I'm comfortable. Like I'm not too comfortable where I'm just going to like live here for the rest of my life. But I just know that the longer I stay, the more tools I'll have and the better that my life will be after this. Because right now, today is the last and first day I have. I don't know what tomorrow is going to be. Cool.
Yeah, definitely. I remember a guy who recently celebrated this. People are like, what's your clean date? And he always says today. Every single time. And everyone's like, has he been using or something like that? And it's just like, no, that's the way that he thinks, is like, I'm clean for today. I got the same amount of clean time as that. That guy has 37 years of experience more than me, but we're both clean today. And that's what really matters at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I want to elaborate on something that you mentioned in this conversation, Tara, is that you have to protect yourself. What do you mean by that?
So this is actually my 5th recovery house.
Okay.
And I thought that, the first time I, was young and making friends and like trying to be something that I thought was the life to live. And I just, that they say it's true, like they'll get you sicker faster than you'll make yourself sick, or however that goes. And I always think that I can save everybody else. So this time I'm just really conscious that like, I can't make anybody want what I have. They have to want it for themselves. That's where all of my relapses have been. It's my choice at the end of the day, but like it's been my motives to try and save that person, and then I end up way worse off than they've ever been.
Like giving them a piece of yourself.
Right.
Okay, is what I'm hearing you say.
And I think that, yesterday I was asked a question to help somebody, and I just had to sit there and think for a second, because I would jump on it and like, yeah, I'm gonna help you. Yeah, I don't care if you're using whatever. You want to get better, I'm gonna help you. But then I have to think like, well, what if I did go and get that person and they did have something on them, and someone beeped their horn at me, and I'm like, fuck it, let's get high. Like I can't do that. Like I can't.
Or they're like, let me put this last one,
right,
this very, very last one before we leave, and then you're like, fuck it. That's usually that was my mantra when I was in active addiction.
Yeah.
Just one more time.
Yeah.
I'll get clean at 12 a.m. Just this last one, 11:59. That was mine. Monday. But like, it's just, I have to listen to what they say, because I don't ever listen. I just like, I know actions speak louder than words, but really when you're in active addiction, like your words are, for me at least, my words were what was my cry of help. Like my actions were the same every day, but my words is what no one was really listening to, because action, that's stupid, whatever. I mean, it's true.
Actions speak louder than words.
Right.
How stupid.
Right. But for me, it's just like I was doing the same actions every single day, but my words is like, I need help. But I was saying another way, like, I need $50, like I'm hinting to you, don't give me that 50, send me somewhere, help me. And so when, they say certain things, I'm just like, well, I remember when I thought that way, and this is what you're really doing and you're not saying it. So
Harlie, how have, I've seen you were a driver with McShin for a little while. Just to get on kind of the track of maybe like service work, is that still something that's an important part of your program, or is going to meetings and connecting with people a little more important? Like, what's your personal recovery look like, and the service involved in that?
I mean, if I get a phone call and I have time to drive for the church, I'll definitely do it. And meetings are important. Like, I always make sure, because I've been working a lot, but I'm always make sure that I'm like either on Zoom or we're going out to a meeting and gathering like a bunch of people. Like, even if we have to take 2 cars, like making phone calls and being like, let's just go, kind of making it exciting for everyone. So I love to just get people together and bring them out to meetings, Yeah, it's kind of been difficult to balance recovery with how much I work, but I feel like I'm doing pretty well with that. And getting a sponsor that I really connect with was like really helped where I was at, because before I moved out of Chesterfield, after staying there for 3 months, I stayed there for 3 months because I was driving.
You chose to stay there for a couple months after the 28 days was up.
Well, they needed a driver, and I drove the Chesterfield van for 3 months, and then I decided to move on. But yeah, I had a sponsor in the beginning, and you just don't connect with somebody. But I didn't have the heart to say that, and I didn't know how to like break up with my sponsor.
Yeah, it's tough.
It is. It's really awkward.
I haven't had to do it, but it's like the whole sponsor relationship is really akin to like dating. Like, having to ask someone to be your sponsor is like, hey, can you want to go out and get some coffee? Like,
Right.
It's so
it was
weird.
Really weird. It was definitely out of my comfort zone. And she was great. It was just really surface level, and I needed somebody to like dig in and like get those things out of me, because I definitely always have like a defense mechanisms and my guards up. So it takes a certain type of person to like really dig into me. And I found that, and she definitely encourages me to do service work and go to meetings, and that has helped me too. Like, having a really deep like connection with my sponsor, and somebody that really gets it and wants it for me is important.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Dixie makes a really good point in saying sponsorship is key, truly the heartbeat of the program. I felt like I personally got called out by the Just for Today yesterday, because I haven't had like a phone call with my sponsor in a minute. And it was like, call your sponsor today. And I was like, oh, I know. Just let me do my thing. But that's what this whole program is for me, is not the whole thing, but accountability is really important part of my program. So you were driving for a couple months. Why did you decide to stop doing that?
I think I started to feel stagnant.
Okay.
I was in Chesterfield, and I mean, it's basically the same thing. The group from 8 to 5, and then we all went to an NA meeting, and I just needed like something more. You know, I wanted to get out and like start looking for a job so I could start saving money, just do the next thing for me, and to further myself, not only for going back home, but just it just felt like I wasn't really doing much. I kind of felt stuck, and that feeling.
That's not what recovery is supposed to be. It's supposed to be a consistent, like, upward momentum or trajectory is kind of how I've seen it. Of course, it kind of is like a zigzag line, because not all days are great days, smiley face days. Sometimes they're cloudy days.
Yeah.
Going back to my kindergarten chart, they're not all sunny days.
Right.
So, what I'm kind of hearing you say is that you were sacrificing maybe some of your like personal, growth and momentum to help the other people around you a little bit more.
And it was hard for me to like say, hey, this is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was like just being like a yes man, like, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do it.
Yeah.
No problem. But as time went on, I kind of like grew within myself and to like be like, hey, this is how I feel. I feel like I need to move on. And you can, I mean, there's someone else that y'all can find, you know?
Sure.
So that was growth, just to be like, hey, this is what I want to do.
The freedom of choice,
Right.
essentially, to do things that are going to benefit me because I know that I need them. And, you know, I'm not going to say that I always make good choices, but at least today I get to make these choices instead of just, you know, get lit and let the, you know, high me make the choices for me or something like that.
Yeah.
Or let the drugs make the choices for me. In short, have you had to make any certain sacrifices along your recovery journey, Tara?
Oh yeah.
Like what?
So I had to be able to call myself out.
Okay.
I sacrifice the relationships, the old behaviors that I would do to have those relationships. It's kind of like, you know, that doing the same thing over and over again and trying to have a different outcome. That was something that I had to realize, like, why is this always happening to me? And I'm not using drugs. It's like I had to just give that up and learn how to live again, for real. I had to sacrifice a whole job where I was moving way up in the company, and now I'm here and I'm starting at the bottom like Drake, but you know, he did it, I can do it.
But now we're here.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely been, it's weird because you put yourself so low for so long that when you start doing the right thing and other people tell you, like, I'm proud of you, that P word, it's just like, you talking to me? You're proud of me for what?
It's like putting on a t-shirt that's kind of itchy.
Yeah.
That's like when people say something like that to me. It's like,
I don't know
it
what
feels
to
itchy,
do.
but it's like the perfect size.
We were told to rub it in, you know, like when someone says something. So now I'm always like, all right, I'm rubbing this in. I'm not going to deflect you. I'm going to, even though I want to so bad. But yeah, sacrifices is something that is hard. I've had to get vulnerable for sure, but I don't think I'd have it any other way, right? Like, I don't think I honestly would be sitting here if it wasn't for like Harlie or other girls in my house. It's been a really long month, but like one of the best months. Like, I used to think like senior year was my best time of my life, right? And now it's like, wow, this is what really life's about. Like doing the next best thing for me, which is weird because it's always been about everybody else.
Have you learned more about yourself in the last month throughout this process?
Oh yeah.
Is it scary? Or
It's
it good?
Scary. I mean, it's good. It's definitely good because that's the whole reason why I came here, right? Like, I came here to be held accountable because clearly, you know, I love my family, but they couldn't do it, right? I couldn't
Can't do it for you.
Right. So I needed to come here to learn how to live again. So when I do leave this place, I am living the right way. I don't, you know, go back to, because it's so easy. It's like riding a bike, you know, you get back on. I haven't forgotten. So it's something that I just have to remember, like, when they say, I never heard this before and it's crazy, but when they say like, you remember that last day, I remember that last day, like every second. Like, it was just crazy that I even made it back. Like, I shared this last night in a meeting. Like, I still, even though a month and some change now, I'm still like, I wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm in this room and I'm here and I made it back and I'm alive and I'm happy. Like, that's crazy. I never thought I was going to be happy again. I was okay with where I was. I was content. So I thought. Yeah,
content being stagnant.
Right.
Yeah.
That's scary. That's a scary feeling. So what have been, you know, for both of y'all, I guess, I feel like, you know, we kind of talk about it in pieces, but like, what's been the hardest part throughout this recovery journey? Like, maybe the biggest obstacle that you've had to face, or maybe consistent obstacles that keep coming up that we just got to get through.
I think just letting those walls down and being vulnerable and letting people in was really hard for me, you know, because I'll come in and be like, oh, everything's fine. I'm fine, you know, because I don't want people. I've always looked at it as like, people think you're weak, or so vulnerability was really hard for me. And it's just like I've done a lot of reflecting on the behaviors that I've had in the past and just like who makes me me, and finding that within yourself, like clean and like really digging is a process, and it's tough sometimes, to like also look back at like the things that I've gone through just growing up, and without like using anything and having to feel those feelings. Things get tough, but it's like the healthiest way you can do it. And I'm just proud of myself for how far I have come. And I know that I'm healing, and it feels really good,
Yeah, you can like feel yourself getting better.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it comes in waves where I'll be like, man, I'll just look around and be like, my life's a lot better than when I was homeless in jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, or it's just hard to describe sometimes. So gratitude, that's what I was kind of hearing you say, was a lot of the gratitude is really beneficial. And the vulnerability piece is scary at first, but the more you do it, the more I do it, the more I feel comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
Almost to the point of like self-effacing to where I could be putting myself down very easily. Exactly. So what about you, Tara? What's been kind of like one of the bigger obstacles that you've had to deal with throughout this journey? You can't say being vulnerable.
No, I'm definitely not. That's one though. But for me, what is doing the right thing, even though it hurts? For sure. Because I'm codependent as heck. And it's something that like I always have known. And it's crazy because like in this last like relapse that I had, I was by myself the whole year. And now that I'm like clean, it's like I want something and I just don't know what it is. And I'm like trying to like find it in, getting a new job and then being like, okay, this is not where I want to be, or, buying shoes or clothes or whatever. And it's just like nothing is like satisfying it. But I'm realizing that like it's not any of those things. It's me. It's something that I have to work on, and I have to know what I have to do. So doing that right thing, it hurts and it's frustrating because I don't know really how to express that, but it's something that I'm learning and I'm working on and I have to do every day. And I don't want to ever put somebody's feelings in the trash can, but I have to remember that like if I don't do it, that could be me, and I don't know how I will handle it. I don't know the proper way to go about it right yet. So I'm working on it.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what happens to a lot of people is we have this, other people call it like a God-sized hole that we were filling with substances and derelict behavior. And then we get into recovery and it's no longer filled with substances, but we don't know what to put there.
Right.
So sometimes we put codependency and emphasis on our relationships, finances and being addicted to money, or finding a job and being addicted to that, or, a wide variety of things. And a lot of people end up, benefiting from putting like community or other people without giving up themselves in there, a higher power, a lot of that sort of, or a program of recovery. I like hobbies. I like pop culture. I like TV and movies and music and stuff like this podcast. So like this really helps me personally. Todd, do you have any input there? You got looking at me like you had something to say, brother.
Well, no, I mean, I can definitely go along the lines of what you're saying with the, like on the podcast and like, just doing these recovery related functions, whether it's here or whether it's, a couple other places, like that giving back also is a fulfilling part as well. And I think, so, I mean, how are you girls able to give back also as well? I have this new microphone here and it freaking sucks.
Nice work.
This mic sucks. I tell you. There we go. Now I'm a little better, but I'm used to the other one. Sorry, I don't mean to go off on a.
but you're explaining about how, especially like just this last weekend, you were filming like 2 or 3 different events, like recovery related events, correct?
Yeah. I mean, we had the memorial service here on Saturday, and then we had Walker's Sunday service, and so that giving back is a part of fulfilling. So So now that I was able to balance out my microphone here a little bit, how are you guys able to give back? In what capacity has that been helpful or non-helpful? Either way, how's that benefited you?
Well, I just got my car, and I think when I first didn't have it, I wanted to go to meetings. I wanted to do all these things that I thought would help me in recovery. So I make it a point, like Harlie mentioned earlier, like we do get a whole carload, and we go to these meetings, and we roll deep, whether it's McShin or what other people. It's something that feels great. Like this morning I woke up early and I took all the girls to the church, and I don't even know why I woke up because I went to bed at 4:30, right? That's crazy. But I was here and it felt good. Like they were so happy, and it felt good. Just like we have a new woman at our house, and she was just so grateful because she was so scared that she wasn't going to make it. And I was like, no, like you can come and wake me up. Like if you want to go to a meeting, if you want to go get coffee, whatever, like please just come and ask me, because I remember feeling that way. I remember feeling like I was stuck, and I don't want anyone to feel that way. So I make it a point, like if they need to go doctors, wherever, like I will go as long as it's somewhere where we can like get coffee or Red Bull and, like just talk about recovery and like just, be around the good people and expand my network. So that's how I feel like for right now.
That's awesome. Gwen thinks it's awesome. She says it's awesome. Simple things like rides are huge. Absolutely. That's what we were kind of talking about earlier was, as someone who doesn't drive, they're super important.
Right.
And in a community like this, the ability to drive and have a car, you can provide something that so many other people either don't have or can't have. Because that's the worst part is when I want something and just can't have it at all. Like I can work for it, but it's going to take a couple years, at least in my scenario. And it sucks. But the fact that, we can come together as a community and a village to help each other out is just really beautiful to watch. So y'all currently work. Do you enjoy your jobs?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah. I was asking because a lot of people have a hard time in early recovery getting and finding a job that doesn't pay $15 an hour like I'm used to, or it's not something that I like, and don't want to take the humbling experience of working fast food, working at Starbucks, working at something that people think is below them. I'll tell you what, I was thankful enough to work at McShin, and they gave me an opportunity, and I was making just enough money to literally like get by, pay for food and cigarettes. That was it. Has that been the similar experience for you? Do you feel like it's a humbling experience, or do you not even think of it that way and you're really proud of what you do?
Well, I've been a server for like 10 years. And
restaurant life.
Yeah.
Me too. So, that can be an interesting environment for someone in recovery though, too.
And it's like a bar restaurant. So that was weird for me to step out of, like, 'cause sometimes I feel like we're in a bubble here,
Very, yeah.
So when I stepped out of that and I went to work, and there's people that are just, normal, so
Earth people.
It was weird for me to get out of this recovery bubble and like work around people that see me as like, oh, I'm sure she'll have a beer with us after work. And I'm just like, no, I don't drink.
I'm good here.
Yeah. So that was definitely strange, but I like the restaurant industry. I think that I work well with other people, and I can't sit down. Like I can't sit behind a desk. It's just never something that I could do. I need to be up and going. And sometimes it gets super crazy, but I feel like my brain works and better in situations like that. I don't know, like the complete chaos.
Like I did it for 10 years, and I like the multitasking, the fast-paced environment of it. I just know that if I went back to it, it would definitely put me in jeopardy, because I know my go-to move is just like, yeah, let's go out and do some blow after work. Like that's just I know myself well enough to know that crew in any restaurant. It doesn't matter what restaurant I worked at. There's a crew of people that I would find that would get me into trouble personally. And more power to you that you can do that, and it suits your skill sets. And you work a couple jobs too, right?
Yes.
How's that been? I mean, is it as kind of like, Harlie sees it very positively, and
So
Other people work jobs and are
Right.
like, I hate my job.
Okay, I hate my job for sure.
You do?
Yeah,
Okay.
I most definitely do. But this time for me, my thing was, okay, so when I had a job before, I was always afraid to tell people I was in recovery because I didn't want to meet the chance of meeting my next plug, for real. I didn't want to tell anybody because I didn't want to have to explain it to them. That's embarrassing. Right? I'm unmanageable, right? So, and a lot of people.
Because you're afraid people would perceive you as weak.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm tough,
Mhm.
So this time I was like, look, I am in recovery. I go to meetings. I will be late to work. If you want us to go, I work 9 to 5, like 9 p.m. to 5 a.m. So I was like, I can.
Now?
Yes, I can either be late, like 5-10 minutes because I'm coming from a meeting, or you can have a really messed up employee who is always late, always going to the bathroom, going out back, whatever.
Mhm.
So we can work like that, or you can respect that I'm trying to live a better life and I'm trying to do the next right best thing. So, and they're like, all right, cool.
So you do actually explain all that to your
yeah.
employers?
Yeah. I mean,
How do they perceive? How do they
think it's
take
cool.
that?
They have a lot of questions. They don't understand. I had a guy come through the drive-thru and wanted chicken nuggets, and I was like, I'm sorry, if you have the extra money, why don't you just buy yourself some chicken nuggets? And he was like, well, I'll give you some perks. And I said, whoa, get your Skittles at my drive-thru, So
Hit the curb.
yeah, and they're like, why would you take drugs from a random person? And I was like, well, if you only knew. There's, they don't get it, but it's like cool. It's like it made me realize that like.
It's not that I'm not taking drugs from a random person. I'm not taking drugs from anyone.
Right. It just made me realize that like people that don't understand addiction really don't understand us.
Mhm.
They really, and it like kind of hurt me in a way because it's hard. And that's just like that's like the worst word you can say, but like it's just like really, I didn't, when I was a kid and we were in kindergarten, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to be a drug addict. No, like I wanted to be something like a astronaut or, something crazy, but it's just like how they have questions like, how are you like a pretty little white girl and, you got into this kind of life. And it's, I didn't wake up and choose it. Like it just happened and I'm sick. And I need help and I need to take the medicine that like you would take for your blood pressure. I need to go to meetings. I need to work steps. I need to show up early, stay late, get a sponsor, do the 90 and 90. I need to do all of that. And that's something that I never expressed at a job. So this time I always been a bartender too, right? So that wasn't
That was
happening.
my last job.
Yeah. So this guy told me, he's like, you don't trust a bartender that doesn't drink. And I said, well, I don't drink.
I know plenty of bartenders that don't drink.
Me too. Now that
I can't, but I know at least a handful of them.
Right. Yeah. So it's just like this time I was very honest, but I actually just got offered to drive for McShin. So I am probably not going to go back to Cookout. That's where I was working.
We're on the air. So, but you use that as an opportunity to educate people.
Yeah.
No matter what I'm hearing you say is that in different jobs, you still, and you too, Harlie, have used it as an opportunity to educate people and say, I don't drink and I'm more than happy to explain why. You know what I'm saying? And I don't think we owe an explanation to anyone, but for me personally, I use it as an opportunity to explain to people and educate them how to destigmatize this disease.
Right.
Do you get kind of the same reaction as Tara was saying in terms of like people might be surprised when they hear that you're in recovery or something like that?
Well, I haven't, because at first it was really awkward for me. It's just a weird thing. I just think it was really strange for me to know how to tell somebody that doesn't understand addiction that, oh, I can't drink because this is going to happen. They're just going to be like, really? I
did have one friend I said that to, and she was like, well, just don't drink as much or something like that. I was like, you don't understand.
Yeah. I just tell them, you don't want to see me drunk or, and they're like, you're just sober all the way around. Like, how do you work in a restaurant and just stay sober? I'm like, I just do. And I haven't really gotten to the point because I didn't think that where I'm at now with my coworkers, they didn't need an explanation of like why I don't drink or if that I'm in recovery. I just haven't really gotten there yet. So I mean, I'm sure there's going to be a point where I'll feel comfortable enough to probably like tell them more about myself. But the point I'm at now, I just don't feel the need to. Yeah.
And I've found the people that I explain that to understand, and it doesn't really affect how they treat me, are the ones that care for me more. Anyway, the ones that kind of like start avoiding me and are like not inviting me out anymore or anything like that, or like, okay, well, they clearly see me in this like box or as this person. But so like almost all of my closest friends have been like so congratulatory and saying they're proud of me. And it's like, we used to get fucked up together, and now you're saying you're proud of me? That's like so weird.
I had a coworker whose brother passed away 2 months ago from an overdose. And when he found that out, he was like, I just want to like say, that's awesome. Like, please don't ever go back. Please. I know we don't know each other, but please don't. Like, my brother's gone because of this. And I was like, I'm so sorry, but you know, I don't plan on going back, but just, you know, don't, if you see something or you see someone coming at me some type of way, don't be afraid to be like, no, you know, because sometimes it is hard for me to say no. And sometimes I might be having a screw it type of day, and it's, you know, the slow hour and, you know, they all do something there. I don't care to know what, but it's obvious, especially when you know the behaviors of what people do.
Yeah, we know best,
right?
About what it looks like.
So it was just kind of like, it made me feel good when he was like, I know we don't know each other, but like, I'm proud of you. And there was that P word again. I was like, oh my gosh, so everyone down here is so proud of me. They don't even know who I am, but okay.
Yeah.
So it was nice to like hear that, and just being able to say no today. Like, you know, like I always stuttered. If like, hey, after work, you want to go outside and smoke a J? Like, yeah, let's go. But like, I had to explain to him, like, I can't do anything. Like, I cannot do anything. I will always go back to my DOC. I can't do anything, and I'm okay with that. And they're like, that's so crazy. And I'm like, it is crazy, but so am I. And you don't want to see that. You don't want to see that, Tara. Like, you do not.
So that's interesting. In this scenario, you're kind of playing as like a representative of the recovery community. You know what I'm saying? So this friend of yours or coworker, you know, sees you as a representative of the recovery community and says, I'm proud of you because I understand. Does that kind of like make you feel better, or does that feel like that pigeonholes you too much?
I think it makes you feel.
Am I making a huge generalization?
I mean, I think setting yourself like free in a sense makes you feel better, because at first when I was just like at work being like, oh, I don't drink, and I've talked to a couple coworkers and being like, you know, alcohol like really kind of like screwed my life up, and like I'm trying to like fix it without, you know, drinking. And they're kind of just like, oh yeah, cool. You know, like I respect that. And at first I just didn't really know how to say it. And I wasn't going to go in there and be like, hey, I'm like in recovery, I'm sober, you know, that's
roll in wearing this t-shirt, right?
So little by little, opening up and telling a few people I feel comfortable with makes me feel better. I feel like I'm not wearing like this mask or, you know, being like a different person, because I'm
inauthentic.
Yeah, I want to be authentic all the way around. And I didn't want to feel like ashamed or I don't know, weird about being in recovery. And I feel like it was that strange transition from this McShin bubble to the like going out to people that aren't in recovery. It was just a little awkward at first, but I think that as more time goes on and like letting people in and being honest and authentic, it does feel better, you know?
Sure. I mean, I still hang out with friends who use, they just, you know, they drink, they might do different things every now and then. They know not to like put it around me, and they're a little discreet about it. And I always like make certain decisions to know where my line is. Like, okay, I got to get out of here now. But as an advantage to me, I think it creates a sense of more open-mindedness. I don't recommend it for everyone personally, but these are people who still care about me and are conscientious of me. And I don't want to be treated like I still have training wheels on, essentially. and I know how to protect myself, and I'm always around someone else in recovery a lot of times, or other people who know how serious I take my recovery. So they don't, they don't do certain things around me, but they don't change who they are around me.
Yeah.
Like that was one thing that I heard when I first got here is there was a girl who was in the program and said she went home for Christmas, and like everyone was going into the different room that she was in to like take a shot or something like that. And she'd walk in and they'd act like they were doing something super screwed up. And she'd be like, don't treat me like a child. Like
Right.
I can leave. It's just even weirder when you do that than if you just say, I don't know, are you comfortable? Is this okay? Like checking in on me. Is that kind of the same experience with you? Because I feel like, don't treat me like I got training wheels on. Honestly, it's like I can leave if I want to.
Yeah, I mean, I've definitely been put in that situation, and I just felt it made me more angry than anything, because I felt like they were questioning like how strong of a person I am, and I want to like put up this front like I'm strong, like I can do this. You don't need to act any type of way, but it's something that I can't do right now.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe one day, but for today, I can't hang around anyone that's
Mm-hmm.
really doing drinking. Isn't, I mean, that's just, I've never been a drinker ever my whole, like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like it's cool over there, but not for me. So that's why I thought bartending would be easy. And then you hang out in the kitchen, you're going to
Come on.
cook, So I don't think about that right now, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like avoiding
That's fair.
putting yourself in those situations.
Yeah. Like I know, like when at work, everyone goes and takes the trash out to the dumpsters at the same time,
I wonder what's going on there.
Right. And so it's just like, I don't even ask. I'm just like, all right, I'm just going to drink a milkshake and chill.
So have you decided to be a driver? Is that part of the reason why you're not going to be working there anymore?
Yeah. And
Because of
it's
that environment, or?
Yeah. And it was just like crazy. It's just, I don't know. It was just, I didn't feel like I was getting what I deserved. Like, I'm a hard worker.
Okay.
I don't like to be treated lower than what I am. Like, I've been in the restaurant business since I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
I've been in a drive-through for the past 3 years at Dunkin', doing my thing. And it's just like,
That's a really hard schedule too.
oh my gosh.
9 p.m. to 5 a.m.
Yeah.
That's wild.
And
I couldn't do it.
And I know other people who do that, but they do it after they get like 6 months clean.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And kind of work on themselves. And they're like, yeah, I work
And it's
overnight
also
at
hard when
Home
you
Depot
live
or
with,
Amazon.
It's hard when you live with like 9 other people who, when I'm coming home, they're waking up and
You want to hang out.
I do. And I hang out every time. And then by 3 o'clock, I'm like, oh my gosh, I need coffee. And I'm up at work, and then I feel myself crashing, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I feel like if that's going to continue to happen, I'm going to start crashing one day at work, and somebody's going to have something, and I don't want to be in that situation. I'm like trying to play the tape all the way through. And I don't want to do that.
That's a perfect example of those sacrifices that we were making. Like, you've had to sacrifice part of your recovery program and connecting with your friends and these other females in the house to supplement your income. And it's just what I'm hearing you say, it needs to be the other way around. Interesting. Very cool stuff. So I think before we wrap up, I want to ask y'all what you're grateful for today.
I'm grateful for McShin, my family, my daughter, and my drive. Keep pushing, keep like really wanting this.
Cool.
Yeah.
Keep pushing.
I'm grateful for the sunshine, my mom and my dad, waking up in a bed for sure, because it's cold, and the opportunity to, be here and have, people like you around that like are doing the thing and like still really cool. Because I'm always afraid that like getting clean is gonna like getting old. Like you just lose your drive to do everything. You just want to like, read the newspaper and stay at home all day. So it's like that's
Yeah, it sounds delightful.
right. So I'm just thankful for, people that have long-term recovery and that are giving me the hope to do this and stick around and not get crazy and leave.
Sure, y'all are definitely gonna help some people. I mean, people in jail, other women in jails will watch this and say the exact same thing about y'all. I can almost guarantee it. So I really appreciate having y'all on. Todd, what are you grateful for today?
I'm grateful for just the ability to be here and working, with you guys yet again. I'm grateful for a lot of things, to be honest with you. My family, my kids, my life where it's at today, was not that way like over 4 years ago. So just to see where things are at today, in contrast to that, that's a lot to be grateful for. But as always, grateful for the podcast. I love doing these with you guys. So.
Yeah, it's been really nice. I'm real grateful to have all of y'all here. I'm real grateful to have this platform, McShin, this job, my apartment, my son, my family, my friends, to rebuild bridges and consistently like get back what I've lost. I mean, I look around and I can't be much happier with where my life is right now. So I really appreciate y'all coming on and being so authentic and vulnerable. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Until next time, this has been Get in the Herd. Peace out.
My name is Shannon Lance. I'm currently here in recovery at McShin Foundation. I got out of jail on January 10th, 2021, and while I was incarcerated there, my mother passed away due to COVID complications on December 14th. It was a really challenging event in my life. While I was incarcerated there, I watched the recovery videos and the podcast on the tablets there, that was made by the McShin Foundation. Getting the Herd podcast really made me feel like I was a part of something on the outside, because, there's people that are commenting and just seeing, people that I was incarcerated with on the videos, and just thinking, man, that's going to be me, before too long. And, I'm going to be sitting there in them rooms and, be able to be a part of the podcast and get in the Herd series. And, now I'm a part of the Herd here at McShin, and it's an amazing feeling, and it's nice having a fulfilled sense of hope in my life currently, and just to live one day at a time, and just to have positive feelings in my life and good relationships with my family and friends is an amazing event.